the Agada. We are approaching Pesach. So we're not going to the whole idea of the Agada, but this is really my Secret of the Agada. This is my book, which is Secret of the Agada, as you can see here. And it goes into the main ideas behind the Agada through the letters, really looking into the Hebrew words, Hebrew letters, with which the word was created. And then I showed a lot of interesting things behind. So let us discuss now only the word Agada. What is behind those letters, Agada? Now the first thing one should know that the Agada is a traditional account of the Exodus. It not only is not its text reflects with meaning, but so is its very name Agada. So what is really the Agada? What is the meaning of the verse? What is the meaning of the letters? So let us begin our journey into the inner meaning of the Agada by the following phonetic breakdown of the word Agada. Now, Agada have 4 letters: A, Gimel, Daled, A. Right? A, Gimel, Daled, A. Really, those letters are really 3, one after the other, like Gimel, Daled, A. These are the 3 letters after Aleph, Bet. So what are those letters? What's the letters Gimel Dalet, which is really the central letters? Gimel Dalet are. So if you remember, we discussed about Gimel Dalet as good, but basically the meaning of those letters are Gimel, which is pronounced Gimel, which is like the Hebrew word Gomel, benefactor or a giver, and the letter Daled pronounces as Daled, so it contains the letter Dal, which is needy person. So Gimel Daled represents a situation when a benefactor is giving to the needy. So the letter Gimel functions as one who gives, and the Daled as one who receives. Now what is amazing in these 2 letters, that those 2 letters are basically the letters of the 3 forefathers and the 4 foremothers, which also the idea we know quite well, that the person, the man, goal, duty is to give wisdom, learning to his wife, and by this together they build the house, definitely, yeah. But in the Agada it's amazing to see the idea of the 4 sons. We have 4 sons in the Agada. We have the wicked one, we have the righteous, we have the Tam, the simple one, the wicked. There are 4 sons in the Agada, to which we really tell the story of Egypt in different ways, everyone according to his understanding, as you know. So 3 really represent in this matter the givers, the fathers, who give over the idea of Exodus. Our Jews came out, strikes in the face of Jews, definitely in their history. Our God took us from Egypt, and as we know quite well, this is really an introduction to the future redemption. So Gimel Dalet, which represent giving to the poor, to the needy, really in the case of the Agada is parents giving over to their children, the 4 children. Now what is also interesting, that speaking about Gimel, which is 3, and 4, which is Dalet, which is 4, basically this is the basis of the Agada. We have 3 matzahs, and we have 4 cups of wine. Really different interpretation about what the 3 matzahs represent and what the 4 cups of wine represent. And really some say that the matzahs represents really our three forefathers, or the Kohen, the Levi in Israel, which is the main three parts, the Kohanim, the priests, the Levites, the Israelites, and 4 cups, those are the recipients. So again, the idea of the 3 and 4 comes in the main commandment mitzvahs of the Seder, the 3 matzahs and the 4. So the word Haggadah, as we said, is surrounded with the letter A and Hey. The Haggadah is A, Gimel, Dalet, and Hey. Now we know that the letter Hey is the letter of God's name, Yud Ke Vav Ke. So this is the first letter, A, Yud Ke, and there is the fourth letter Hey. It means we have 2 letters A in the name of God. The first one is after the Yud, Yud Ke, and the other one is the last one. According to Kabbalah, the first one represents Bina, understanding. The last one represents kingdom. Okay, there are different ideas definitely to do in Kabbalah, the spheres of understanding, Bina and kingdom. Really also, in fact, they complement each other. In fact, Bina, understanding, is a source of giving also, understanding things. Give it over, and to whom? The last A, which is really the kingdom, which represents really the recipient. So it is very interesting that the Gimel Dalet, those 2 letters, Gimel, the giver and the recipient, are basically has to do with the Hey, the first A of God's name, and the last A of God's name. So together, amazingly, you can see this connection. What the Haggadah is basic, the basis of Haggadah is really giving over. Now, by the way, it is also interesting to point out that the numerical value of Gimel, which is a giver, is like father, Al, Aleph, Bet. Aleph is 1, Bet is 2. So this is a father who gives over to his son. So, as we said, looking onto this word of Haggadah, in simple meaning, represents the idea of giving over. By the way, it is so interesting to point out that the Hebrew word Haggadah or Gid, it means idea of connection, is the Hebrew word Gid. Gid is sinews. Sinews go all over the body, right? All over the body. So in fact, in the Haggadah, in the telling of the story of Egypt, is written that it is not only enough to mention that we came out of Egypt, you have to mention the whole story, how we came to Egypt, how we came out. Like a sinew goes all over the body, so the story of the Haggadah also should be alike, to tell all the details how we came to Egypt and we came out, as really we say in the Haggadah. Now also what is interesting is that the name for the Haggadah, the mitzvah of the Haggadah, is Sipur. Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim, mitzvah עלינו לספר. The command is upon us לספר. So what is the idea of Sipur, לספר? Again, very interesting. The Hebrew word Sipur phonetically is similar to sapphire, sapphire. Yeah, sapphire stone, we know. So sapphire is very bright, very clear, diamond, a stone. So the idea that we are commanded to narrate, to tell the story of the Exodus with the clarity and brilliance of the precious gem. And to also, it is very interesting that the same letter, the saper, is actually force, yeah, which means to bring it over in such a way that one can see it clearly in front of him. So the mitzvah of really the Agada is not simple telling stories, but try to make it clear and clearly seeing the divine providence behind. Well, it should be really showing it in very, very clear way. So, what it is interesting, therefore, that in the verse for the Agada, with the Agada to do with Sini, with Gid, telling us that we have to show how all the development happened in Egypt, how they came to Egypt and came out, and also there in Israel Sipur, the Saper, to make it clear, shiny, bright, like a sefer, the whole story that we are going through the Agada. Now also what is interesting in this case is the numerical value of the Agada. The numerical value of the Agada is Tov, A5 to A you have 10, and Gimel Dalet 7. Altogether Tov. Now, what is the idea? So the idea of goodness, you know quite well the Torah is called Tov. Tov Hashem Lakol. Tov, the Hebrew word Tov represents completion. And completion, beauty, harmony. And this is exactly what Agada should be. You should really have, like the Torah, Tov li Torat Picha, the Torah is called Tov. Yeah? Because the Torah gives you a clear picture of things. And the same thing with the Agada. This is the purpose of the Agada, Tov, like the Torah, to bring us clear all the facts of what happened in Egypt, to see clearly the divine providence in Egypt. So this is really why we say in the Agada, כל המרבה לספר ביציאת מצרים הרי זה משובח. Which means anyone who tells of the Exodus at length is praiseworthy. Because as we said, the idea of telling the Agada is not telling facts, but to try to increase more and more and to see and to show more and more how God was involved in everything which happened in Egypt. So speaking then is one of our primary obligation on Passover night. Interesting, the Ari of Isaac Luria says the Hebrew word Pesach is Pesach, the mouth which speaks. Yeah, and this is the purpose of the Agada, of Pesach night, the Seder night, to speak more and more about the greatness of God, the great miracles which God did to us, Pesach. Also, he points out something very interesting. There's a small numerical value of Pesach. It means if you take only the single, like Pei is 8, Samech is 6, Chet is 8, come to 22. Again, the 22 letters of the alphabet, which is definitely the basis of the language, right, which we have to use really properly, very interesting. The full Gematria of Pesach is under 48, which is really the Gematria numerical value of the word eternity in Esau. Because this is Pesach, Passover for Jews is eternity. Because keeping Pesach, Passover all over history, this kept the Jewish people up till today. Yeah. So this is really what is the most important part of the Agada, I say, to speak, and as we said, to clarify the Sipur, and to show all the development, as we said, like Gid. And this is really what's the Agada. So this is a letter of the Agada. Now, in fact, if one goes more into the build-up of letters, you can see the Agada even deeper inside. The letter, almost we say that almost every letter in the Hebrew language is divided in 2, even 3. So the letter Gimal is built up of Gimal, of Vav, and Apsad Yud. Apsad Yud, right? So if you cut the Gimal into 2 letters, you have Vav Yud. So basically, if you take the word Agada, you have Havaya. Havaya is the name of God. Yeah. A, Vav, Yud, Havaya. It is the existence, Havaya, of the word, of God, of the word. So amazingly, so you see that in the Agada, saying the Agada, we build up really in ourselves the 4 letters of God. Because in the Agada contains these 4 letters of God. You have the Yud, you have the A and the Vav, Yud Ke Vav Ke, which is really the basis of man. If you remember, we mentioned Yud is the wisdom, A is understanding, Vav is the Midot, attributes, and He is kingdom. By the way, if you put the name of God, Yud on top, A down, and Vav down, and He, you have the shape of a man. Yud is like the head, the He is the 2 hands, and Vav is the middle part of man, and the He is like feet, amazingly. This is the idea that God created man in the image of God. So what we see is that in Pesach night, unbelievable, is a lot in Kabbalah, lots of ideas, kavones, intentions, very much to do with different combinations of God, the letter of God, Yud Ke Vav Ke Ke Vav. Tell me, those are people of the Kabbalists, the Seder contains lots of secrets which have to do with the letters of God. So it's so interesting that in reading the 4 letters of Agada, basically we have the idea of God's name also. So very, very interesting and very important. And all of this shows how important is the Agada that you have to say in the time